So as Brian said, we're going to be jumping into MTOWorx and how to manage your bill of materials through Plant 3D using MTOWorx. A couple of things in that process just means how do I view my data inside the model very quickly. Very similar to the data manager, we have a palette that'll pop up, but we give you the ability to create your custom views and custom bill of materials so that you can search for issues in your model very quickly. And if you find these items, be able to select them and update them very quickly as well. And if at any point in time you need to create these custom views and then export them out using your own standard templates and company standards, we give you the ability to pick one of those Excel templates and it'll come out with your header, your footer, your special settings that you have inside that Excel file, which could include custom sorting, Excel formulas, things of that nature. One of the other areas that we've tried to assist with is just being able to compare your current model status with the previous bill of materials that have been ran. So one of the issues with the industry is just how to keep track of your bill of materials throughout the life cycle of the project. And with MTOWorx, we give you the capability to do that very quickly and easily. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into Plant 3D here. So we have a typical just sample project that comes with Plant 3D, and on the left-hand side here, we've got our MTOWorx palette. So with the palette, we've got a couple capabilities here. So your main function here is just to view the data that you want to see at the current point in time. So we've got a few overall filters that we could set. So if there's a point in time where you want to just see a few line numbers, or if you have a bunch of models XREF together and you just want to see current models and what they're looking like, just come into the overall filter, check which items you want to see, and that will apply to all of the visible items in this grid over here. Once you've set all of your standard grids up on your overall side of things, we give you the ability to create up to 40 different custom grids. And each of these grids could tell a little bit of a story about your project. So if we just look at the standard one, this is just our standard bill of material grid that I've come up with. Just a way to quickly see what specs I'm using, what long descriptions, all that nature. So each one of these, as you select them, is going to go through, grab the data from the model, and then view that information up here in the grid. The nice thing about this grid is it's got Excel-like functionality, so we can quickly sort, turn filters on or off, and see the data we want to get to. So just by simply clicking on these guys, we can go through and see all the information that is applied in the long description, nice and sorted. One of the reasons I use this tool on my day-to-day side of things when I'm doing design work is just the ability to see an overall status of my lines. So as we're scrolling through looking at the pipe here, we can see most of them have a nice long description. This pipe seamless, it's got the schedule, it's got the materials. But further down the list, we can see we've got items that just don't have a complete long description for us. And there's quite a few of them in here. Now with MTOWorx, we can easily just go through, select some of these items and tell it to go find it for us. And as soon as we've selected them, it'll grab those items, highlight it, and then zoom around them as well. So once we have those selected, it's as simple as going into the properties palette and updating the long description right here for it. Now in this case, you can see we've got quite a few items to go through. If you don't want to have to zoom in on every single item that you're looking for, you can just simply hit the select item, and instead of zooming to them, it will highlight them all, even if they're not in your current view. If we kind of pan out here a little ways, we can see we've got quite a few more items that need to be cleaned up. And again, just simply come over here and modify your long description at that point in time. All your items are quickly and easily visible in front of you, updatable so that you can keep a closer eye on your project and making sure everything runs smoothly when you go to generate your final bill of material or go through and start running your ISOs. Another important part of any project is just making sure you've got all the information filled out that needs to be filled out, or that you're ordering the proper components that need to be ordered. So one of the views I've set up here is just a quick valve check to make sure that all of our valves have manual tag numbers. And just looking at this unmodified out-of-the-box sample project, we can see that it doesn't look like any of these valves have a tag number. So again, Super quick and easy just to select the item and come over here to our properties palette and start filling out our tag information. Very quick way to just view your data and analyze it and make sure that everything is filled out the way it should be, or that you're going to be ordering the proper components. So we can do the same thing with bolts, welds, supports, any of these types of items. It's a quick and easy way to just go through and verify that all these items that are in your model either match up with your company standards or your specs, and so that when you go out to the field and order these guys, you're going to get some accurate information in here. So another one on the side of checking things is just to quickly go through and list every single component, and then making sure that each one of these lengths seem to match up with the other lengths. And if you see any oddball items in here, again, it's pretty quick and easy to just find that item, figure out maybe what's wrong with it, if it's a miscalculation, or in this case, you've got a wafer or lug component. So yes, this bolt does need to be a little bit longer. It's also a quick way to determine, are we using any just standard components instead of a spec-driven component? So based on the long description, we can easily find all of these items as well, and then go through and fix them as needed. So once you've had all that data and you've ensured that it's nice and clean, we've looked over all the components through the model, verified that everything looks good, it may come a time that you want to just start exporting this stuff out so that other people can see that this don't have Plant 3D, and you can share the data. So we do give you the option of a single, total, or cut. So each one of these guys will go through and consolidate them based off of the industry standard single, total, or cut. So if we look at the total area here, and I'm ready to just export this, this export button down here is just going to be a what you see is what you get. So the little WYSIWYG functionality. If we sort this based off of long description, then when I hit export, it's going to ask me for location. So I'm just going to go out and choose my project location that I'm working with, throw it into my bill of material directory. And as soon as it's generated that file, it will open it up for you so you can take a look at it and see what kind of information is available. So as we can see here, we've got a list of all of our components. And since it is Excel, we could, again, quickly just come in, add some custom filters, do some custom sorting, take items out, do things of that nature. So very quick and easy. These reports here are typically saved for just internal. I just need to get a quick look at the project, see how things are going as a project manager or a CAD admin on that side of things, just making sure everything's going smooth. But sometimes we also need to have these reports sent out to a client as well, so that they look a little bit nicer, get presented on a nice template with a header and maybe some other functionality. So let's go ahead and just run this quick report based off of this template we have here. And at this time, it's going to go through and insert all of this data into our own custom template that we have set up. So right off the bat, I have all my filters in here ready to go. I've also taken the time to come through in my template and set up a custom sort, so that all I have to do is say custom sort, hit OK, and now everything is sorted through the list as it should be. So very quick and easy to get through and set this stuff up. Some of our other clients that have used this in the past have even set up formulas so that we can do some extra calculations on this to do some specific rounding. So instead of 210 feet, we're going to order 220. 221 feet, we're going to order 40 feet. So doing some rounding and things of that nature can also be done inside your templates, which make these super powerful. If you don't need to run this to Excel and everything looks great, just simply say, let's kick this out to a PDF, and at that time it'll generate a PDF for you and be ready to go. So I think we've talked a little bit about how to look at these guys. The nice thing about some of these other filters in here is we can save these filters. So I showed you the valves earlier. I can come back to this over and over again, and these valves will always stay with the same filter. So whatever filters you save across the top here, as it's got that information saved in memory, it'll go through and save this to only show us the valves of these items. So now that I'm on the total, the list looks a little bit smaller. but I can save this view so that it always applies to my single, my total, and my cut. Every one of those can have its own filter saved as you go through there. I think one of the final things that we try to solve with MTOWorx is just the ability to manage the process of your materials through the entire life cycle. And so with that, what we've done is we've gone in and created a bill of material compare functionality, which allows you to go through and create a snapshot. So this snapshot is going to list all the items that are in the model in their current status. So these snapshots will be created as we go through maybe 20% of the project, 30%, 40, 80, maybe long lead items, things of that nature. But essentially you're going to go through and create your snapshot. And again, you're going to choose a location for this snapshot. I'm just going to keep everything together with my project here. And when it generates the snapshot, again, you're going to open it up and be able to see the information that we have there. So some of the options we can do with this, we're always going to compare based off of size, long description, and length. But we also give you the ability to say if there's a particular part number, short description, line number, drawing number. If you want to filter this any number of ways, just turn these other options on and it'll go through and separate the data a little bit more granular for you. If we were to set up any line number or drawing filters, those would show up in here as well. So they'd kind of let you know that, hey, this is not the overall information. This is only the information for the applied filters that we're working with here. And we also have some additional filters that are found down here in the settings. So when you go through and set this project up for all your users that are going to be utilizing it, you can tell it, hey, let's include all of the existing welds, things of that nature. What do you want to see? But another tool that's really helpful in here is if I want to create bill of materials that are just for my shop, I can say include field items, but let's exclude all the other items that we don't want to see. So if it's just for shop items, I would not include the field items. If I want a bill of material that's going directly to the field and not including anything in shop, I would reverse that and say, let's exclude all the shop items, but include field as well. So we give you quite a bit of tools to go ahead and sort your information, filter upon that information, and clean it up. Now that we've got our first snapshot, let's go ahead and modify our model here a little bit. So if we look at this from a top view, we'll just do a couple of change orders here. Maybe the client wants us to duplicate one of these units down here. So let's go ahead and copy that over, get all that added into the project here. Maybe we're no longer going to use this unit at all. So let's go ahead and clear that out. And then eventually, throughout this entire process, we're going to have some additional pipe added to the project. So a little bit of time has passed. We've gone through, made a bunch of modifications to the project. We're going to allow MTOWorx to go back through, check our current model, and gather all the data that's out there. And once it has that information, we're going to be able to compare that to our previous snapshot. So any of the snapshot that we generate, they're going to be called pipe snapshot, and it's going to give you the date and time that they were generated. So it's nice and easy to find which snap you want to work with. You can always rename these as well, to calling it 20%, long lead items, 80%, whatever you need to. But let's go ahead and open that up so that it can do its compare. And that quickly, we've gotten a difference of bill of materials. So as we scroll through this list here, any items that are black are unchanged. Anything with green text means it's an additional item. Anything with red text means we've decreased that item. And if we continue scrolling down, anything that's got a cell shading of green means it's a brand new item. We've never seen this before in the bill of material. And anything that's a complete red cell coloring, it's no longer used in the project. So we've completely eliminated this from the project. If you haven't ordered it, don't order it at this time. As with all of our tools, we do give you the ability to export these lists out so that other people can use them and work with them. And the same functionality of these colors apply into the Excel world. So we've gone through and allowed you to filter these items out pretty quickly. So if we look at our status column here, let's go ahead and expand these guys out a little bit. We can sort this so that we keep all of our item types together, and we can even filter it. So any blank items, meaning this item did not change at all, I don't want to see it in this list at this time. So now I have a complete list of any item that is decreased from the previous bill of material, any items that have increased, any brand new items that we've added in here, or any items that have been removed. So very quick to go through and take a look at this information, send it off to the project manager, and now you've got a snapshot in time of what the differences are between your two project dates. Great way to use this for milestones and keeping track of your project as you go through there. All right, I think at this time we've pretty well covered what we wanted to get into with the demonstration side of things. There's, of course, quite a few settings that you can get into of how to set these views up, save them. We've got our manuals updated out on the website.